On a gloomy night, James took his last breath. The horrific murders he had committed throughout his life, his bloody past, and the darkness in his soul were not buried with him. Death was only the beginning for him. Years later, a 23-year-old young man opened his eyes. Memories echoing in his mind, dark visions that did not belong to him, and imaginary bloodstains on his hands. This young man was the reincarnation of James. At first, he couldn't understand it, but the nightmares he saw every night drew him closer to reality. He was James, but in a different body. He decided to find his family from his past life. He wanted to prove to them that he was James. He remembered his mother's favorite song, how his father drank his coffee every morning, his favorite childhood toy. When he recounted everything one by one, his family was horrified. It was impossible for this young man to have the same memories as their son, who had died years ago as a killer. However, this revelation led to the exposure of James's former identity. Details of the murders committed years ago resurfaced in newspapers. The relatives of those he had killed were now after him. He had to escape. But how? The more he ran, the more he felt cornered, realizing he could never escape his past. The darkness within him was resurfacing, trying to pull him back into his bloodthirsty old self. But this time, there was a difference. In his new life, he was not just a fugitive, he was the hunted. One night, he encountered the brother of one of his past victims. The flames of vengeance burned in his eyes, sealing James's fate. There was nowhere to run. The victim's brother, carrying years of anger and pain, pulled the trigger. The gunshot echoed in the darkness of the night. James died for the second time. But was this really the end? Perhaps his soul would return once more. Darkness never truly disappears.